Black Righteousness Chapter 7 Part 2, Expressions. Wanyenyekevu was relieved as he also went around the elderly. "Excuse me," he repeated as he smiled back at them. Hours had passed, and the latter seemed endless. Wanyenyekevu sped up his pace. In doing so, he accidentally stepped on an older man's hand. He hears a scream that lasts for 5 minutes as the man falls from the ladder before hearing a loud thump. Upset at himself, Wanyenyekevu stopped and cried in pain and anguish over what he had done. Suddenly, he hears the people below him screaming as they fall from the ladder. Looking down, he could see something or someone coming toward him at great speed. It was knocking the people off the ladder, whatever it was. It was coming too fast and no one recognized what it was as it got closer and closer. It began to purposely knock the people off the ladder in a circular motion around the ladder, moving like a tornado. The screams got closer, and many jumped off the ladder out of fear. To anticipate the object's movement, Wanyenyekevu attempted to avoid the thing by going from one side of the ladder to the other. When the object got close to him, it stopped in front of him. Wanyenyekevu looked at the creature, having a naked human body without extremities such as ears, nose, and mouth. The hideous creature had millions of small eyes all over its body, blinking constantly. The demon stopped where he was, looked into Wanyenyekevu's eyes and growled. Wanyenyekevu was awakened and there he was sitting in the structure. Letzi said to Wanyenyekevu, "It is finished." "It's time to finish our jeûne," Wanyenyekevu said. "Why?" "It has not even been half a day yet," Letzi said to Wanyenyekevu. "Oh, but it has. 3 days have passed, and it's about to be a fourth. Your perception of time is not as mine as the Torah mentioned. A day could be 1,000 years, and 1,000 years could be a day." Wanyenyekevu was in a bit of shock, for he just knew without a doubt it was the same day, but because the structure didn't have windows, he did not know when the sun had risen or set. As Wanyenyekevu exited the structure, it disappeared. There in front of him was a meal that suddenly appeared. It was a rabbit slowly roasting on a small fire with mixed vegetables simmering in a pot with a small pot of rice next to it. Wanyenyekevu smiled. Sabaoth is mighty and wonderful. He had mixed feelings throughout the day, but now he felt a strong sense of joy, and it consumed him as he sat down. He just wrote poetry for the entire day to explain his happiness. He wrote, "Why fast? Why fast? To loosen the bands of wickedness." What in the hell does that mean? The truth came to me. Then I knew. Fasting. It breaks down the flesh. Much like venom from a snake that slowly kills the flesh. That proceeds with the death of the flesh. We are to die. So, the spiritual man can rise. He wrote, "Been so long. Been so long since I've seen joy and love. Yes, joy and peace. Been so long since I've seen or even felt a spark. Until recently when a spark finally appeared. It came over me and comforted me. Excitement covered me for so long. A cloud of depression covered me. Frustration. Yes, stress and anxiety covered me for some time. Caught up in a storm of confusion until I saw a light. It was just ahead of me as I reached for it. It pulled me closer into a mood I've longed for. That brought forth a song. Been so long." He flipped the page and wrote, "Sleep. Sleep is where you meet God. Sleep is where you meet eternity. Learning the meaning of time. Sleep is how your Creator speaks to you. Sleep is what you shall do until the end of time. Sleep is a necessity. Like charging your batteries to allow you to make it another day. Things to remember for the rest of your life. You got to work, you got to eat and you got to sleep." He flipped the page again and wrote, "Dream, fantasy or reality? To be comfortable for the rest of my life. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To be successful. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To enjoy who I am. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To love myself. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To want the best for my family. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To get an education. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To be rich. Dream, fantasy, or reality? To be comfortable for the rest of my life. Rather successful or not? I must first love myself and who I am in order give my family the best of what I can offer. Rather it's getting an education or not. Rather I'm rich or not. All was a fantasy that became dreams, now, before they can become reality. Wanyenyekevu placed his pen and notepad up and laid down looking up at the sky, and the wind blew in his face. He reached for his pen and pad again and he wrote, Faith. I can't see it, so how can it be? I can't touch it, so, is it there? Hearing many, saying, I don't care, running everywhere. So many in pain. Minds going insane, depression is a norm, and hope. Hope is just a dream. All of a sudden, frustration kicks in, and life has no meaning. To those who need it. It's a 5-lettered word. There have been a few who knows the meaning of this word. Their life hasn't been the same since. You see, this world hates dreamers, that is what they call them. Calling them all sorts of names. These dreamers have what they're looking for. This is the reason why they're going insane. The insanity slowly turns to prejudice. Then hate. When all they needed was just a little faith. He wrote, sin in skin. This skin I'm in makes me sin. Righteousness, I know not of. Righteousness is something I never heard of. What is that word? Because this skin only knows sin. Righteousness is sin to the flesh. What a mess. I do things that I should not do. Things I should not do, guess what? I do. Now. There are a few of you who say they can do without sin. Who are you? An angel? For who has deceived you? A preacher? If so, he or she shall receive their just due. As for you, if you got skin, you got sin. There is sin in skin. One trick to skin, one trick to life. Sin has a weakness in skin, some call it flesh. It can't stop sin, but it can save a soul from hell. If you give in according to the supreme sacrifice. Nothing you do physically, no hard work involved. Hoping for something that's invisible is a clue. The only thing that can help me in you. Faith. So easy, but so many make it so hard, but that's the secret. Please pass it on. If someone tells you he ain't got no sin, walk up nicely, being polite, and whisper softly in their ear. Say, excuse me, my friend, but there's sin in skin. Then finally, he wrote. Sabaoth. Knowing the pain, I sent someone to you who's been through the same. I had no other choice but to understand. Reason being, we care for you. Talking to those who always seems to be depressed. You act as if you are the only one and that there's no one else. No job, no career, or got a job and a career and still depressed. Always staring up into the sphere. Looking for help that's near. It seems like a mess, a test. You say it's no way out. I'm here for you 'cause I see the grief, the unbelief, the pain, the strain. But hold on, be strong, there's a gift at the end of this. Together we can make it, together you can take it. Alone, you might go insane. Just call my name. Sometimes you result in crime thinking it's the way, sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. Crime isn't always me, but sometimes in jail is where I need you to be. Like playing any kind of game. Learn the rules to win, learn the rules to understand. You are beautiful people that I made. There's someone who doesn't want you to achieve anything. Please, remember the pain so we can become as one. Don't want you to be lost from your Creator. I paid the cost. It's me, Sabaoth.